A loving mirror is someone who believes in you more than you believe in yourself. And what I realized is that is an essential component that highly successful people all have. But what's fascinating is most of them don't even realize that they have it. And the reason for that is that they've always had it. So if you've always had something, you don't know what it's like to not have something. The majority of us, entrepreneurs or people in business, a lot of times we really don't have that person who's believing in us. And in fact, many people are actively saying that they don't believe in us. And they're saying, you should really quit this and get a job. And what are you doing? And this is crazy. This will never work. There's a lot of doubters and naysayers out there. And that can just make our jobs even harder. I mean, it's hard enough as an entrepreneur, right? I mean, it can be very isolating and sometimes overwhelming. And so that's why we all need to have that person that believes in you. And that's what I do as a coach. When I'm coaching my clients, whether one-on-one or group coaching, a big part of what I do is just to literally believe in them. And sometimes before they believe in themselves. In fact, just to give you a quick example of how powerful this is, I have a program called the 12-Week Breakthrough. You mentioned a moment ago, that I help people make more in 12 weeks than I did in the previous 12 months while actually winning their lives back. So it's not about working harder. It's about working smarter and putting these systems in place. I was coaching one of my clients in the program. Her name's Catherine, and she was doing well in her business, but she just felt a little stuck, a little stagnant, really wanted to reach that next level. And she was in the class and she sent me an email in week 5. It's a 12-week class. So in week 5, she sent me an email. She said, Noah, I just wanted you to know that I raised $185,000 today in one day because of what you taught me. And this was the key of what she said, which was so awesome. She said, because you believed in me, now I believe in me again. I love that. And so that's how powerful this is. I really learned how to write from studying other people and realizing how bad they are. And I don't mean to be mean, but I spent over $500,000 going to all the gurus out there only to realize that they can't teach their way out of a paper bag. It's truly awful. That's a lot of money. But see, the thing about money is we can always get money back, right? I mean, I've interviewed tons of people. I'm sure you have, people who lost millions and made millions. And money you can get back. But here's the thing you can't get back, and that is time. No. See, you cannot get back time. And so I spent all those years giving them all this money only to find out there's no there. And so I realized how not to teach by giving them all that money and realizing what they do is they tell a bunch of stories. And it's like, okay, stories are great. And we all learn by stories. The greatest teachers in history use stories, Jesus and many others, right? The point is that you got to have something with the story, right? You got to give me an example, like give me a checklist, like what do I do? So as you said several times, that's what my books are. That is literally one of the most common things that my readers say is, Noah, thank you for just showing me what to do, giving me a checklist, making it fill in the blank and paint by numbers. I'm like, yeah, I wish someone would have given me that a long time ago. And I'd be a gazillionaire by now. I'm doing all right. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing fine. But geez, would have been nice to have that a long time ago. So that's what my job is as a 7-figure mentor, is to, of course, make your job easier. So what I always say to my clients is my pain is your gain. Fear is the great thing that keeps us held back. Remember, I've written all these books about this one topic, which is how to take your foot off the brake, how to stop stopping yourself from the success you're perfectly capable of. In fact, I was talking with Neil Donald Walsh, who I'm sure we'd all know from Conversation with God many, many years ago. I mean, we're talking like over 25 years ago when my first book came out, Permission to Succeed. And he actually said, Noah, you should call your next book, How to Stop Stopping Yourself from Success. And I'm like, well, yeah, that's the subtitle of all my books, how to stop stopping yourself. I emphasize it a lot because it is the number one thing that is holding most people back, entrepreneurs, business professionals, athletes, I mean, whoever you want, artists, creative people, whoever. It is that delay. I talk about this, the 3 words that really will change your life and change your results, which is money, love, speed. Money, love, speed. Now, if you don't feel comfortable right now with the word money, which you should feel comfortable, you could say success, love, speed, or impact, love, speed. Whatever it is, you've got to fail faster. See, this is the other part of this, right? So it's like 2 sides of the same coin. So many people procrastinate because they're afraid of failure, but they're also afraid of success. So it's like at the exact same time. So it's like, are you kidding me right now? This is crazy. I'm like, yes, I know. Have you met humans? We don't make any sense sometimes. The point is that fear manifests itself in many ways. One of them is procrastination, waiting for everything to be perfect before taking action. Let me give you another real life example. And I do share this story in the book. I was talking with one of my clients, his name's Charles, and I asked him the question I ask all of my clients, whether one-on-one or group, and I say, what is this costing you to not have this in place? If you don't have this in place right now, meaning getting rid of your head trash, getting your foot off the brake, putting these formulas in place, these frameworks, what do you think you're going to lose out on in the next 12 months? How much do you think it's going to cost you to not have this? And he said $1 million without even batting an eye. He said $1 million. And I said, Charles, I hear this every day. I mean, every day I talk to people who say, Noah, this is costing me $1 million, $2 million or more to not have these things in place. So I said, it's very common, so don't feel bad about it, number one. Number two, I said, I'll tell you what, why don't you just give me 10% of that $1 million and I will find you $1 million in the next 12 months. In other words, if you give me $1 and I give you $10 back, is that a good deal? He goes, well, yeah, that's a good deal. So he decided to do that on the spot. See, he didn't dilly-dally, he didn't delay. That's why I love working with high achievers, right? Because they don't do this. They don't delay, they just take action. So he did. He invested $100K, which is 10% of $1 million, right? To get one-on-one coaching with me for a year. That's the investment. I coached him for a year. Now, as it turns out, I didn't find him $1 million in the next 12 months. Instead, I found him $1.8 million in just 10 months. So he gave me $1, I gave him $18 back, right? That's not a good deal. That's a great deal. And actually, he sent me an email and he said, Noah, I love getting emails from my clients because they get wonderful success stories. Anyway, so he said that, guess where I am, Noah? Right now, I'm on a 7-week vacation with my wife. He said, we just bought a new motorhome with all this money we've got now. And he said, I've always wanted to do this. This is a dream I've had for years, but I never had the time and I didn't have the money. So now bought a new motorhome. We're on a 7-week vacation. And he said, not only do I have more money than I've ever had before, now because of your coaching, I have more time than I've ever had before. So it really goes hand in hand once you put these things in place. Gratitude really is the most important emotion that we all have. And what's fascinating about that is you can manufacture it. I'm not a naturally grateful person. I was raised by people that kind of looked on the negative side of life, if you will. And so I kind of was trained to do that, like kind of find all the bad things. And that's not a great way to live, I found out. I really have had to train myself to be grateful, and every single day. So the reason I share that is because for the folks listening and feeling like, well, sure, it's easy for you to say that. I'm like, no, it isn't easy for me to say. It's actually something I still have to work at every single day. So the point is, that is really worth it. Every day I soak it in, and I'm so grateful for this. And it is something that I practice. I will say this to the folks listening who might be saying, well, that sounds great, Noah. I don't have a big house and I got all these bills. And I would just want people to know that when I was $40,000 in debt, I had to move back into my parents' house in Maine. Even at that time, when I had no money, I had no connections, I had no list, I had lost everything. I still made it a point to be grateful. I still said, well, let's see, I don't have anything. Well, that's not true. I have 10 fingers. I've got 10 toes. I've got eyes that work and my ears work. My mouth works. I've got a laptop. I've got an internet connection. So, and I'm like, that's like all I had. So I had like nothing, but I'm like, I didn't have nothing. So, right. Even if for those folks who are there say, well, I don't have anything. I'm like, actually you do, but you need to focus on it. Why? Because what you focus on grows. If you focus on what you don't have, what do you get? More of the experience of not having. So don't do that. Focus on what you have and watch that grow and grow. Anyway, there it is. 7-Figure Machine. You can go to, it's very easy to remember, 7figuremachinebook.com. There you go. 7figuremachinebook.com. Your ultimate roadmap to endless earnings and financial freedom. Noah St. John. 7-Figure Machine Book. And by the way, when you get the book at 7-Figure Machine Book, I'm also going to give you actually my brand new course. It's an online course called the 7-Figure Fast Track. It's a brand new course, over $1,000 of value, and taking everything that I give you in the book and just really hammering it home for you. So as long as you take action, that is the key. You must take action. This isn't a book where you just sit there and read it and put it and make more shelf help. Don't do shelf help. Make sure you do it and take action. All that and more, 7figuremachinebook.com. Real quick story. I was speaking at a seminar for 1,000 entrepreneurs in Los Angeles. This was a few years ago. These are 7- and 8-figure earners, CEOs, high achievers. So I spoke for about 30 minutes, did my keynote presentation. I get to, do virtual and live keynotes all around the country and around the world. And so I was walking off the stage. A man came up to me out of the audience and he said, Noah, you are the coach I've been looking for. I want to hire you as my coach. Now, I didn't know this man from Adam. Ironically, his name was Adam. True story. And so I said, okay, what's going on? He says, well, Noah, we're doing well. We're actually at 7 figures, but we have been plateaued. We've been stuck at 7 figures for the past 4 years, he said. And he said, I have hired all these marketing gurus, all these guys out there. He named all the big name gurus. He said, but we just can't break through that income ceiling. As hard as I've tried, as hard as I work, we just can't break through. So he said, as soon as I heard you speak about inner game and outer game and head trash and foot on the brake and everything you just said, he said, I knew you're the coach I've been looking for. So I want to hire you. Like I said, right? That's why I love working with high achievers, right? He made decisions quickly and friendly, didn't dilly-dally, didn't mess around, just literally hired me on the spot. And so I coached him and his leadership team for 18 months. And in that 18 months, we were able to get his company from being stuck at 4 million for the previous 4 years, hitting that income ceiling, to over 20 million in revenues in less than 18 months. That's a 600% 100% increase. That's what we like to call hockey stick growth, right? You're going along like this and then whop, hockey stick. So that's a great example. And what I will say to the folks listening is 90% of what I helped them with was inner game. So as crucial as outer game is, you got to do it. But really, if you want to start somewhere, yes, start at 7-Figure Machine Book, but make sure you don't ignore your inner game, because that's where the real breakthroughs are going to happen for you.